Welcome everyone to Bangladesh Unboxed. Today we are going to have a political forecasting session in English regarding the political future of the Yunus interim government in Bangladesh. So before I get going, I would draw your attention to this article that I authored for Al Jazeera. It was published on August 10th. It's titled After Hasina, Cautious Optimism for Bangladesh's Future. As you can see, it was published on August 10th, which is about a month ago. This is a fairly large piece where I talked about the background of the student-led revolution that kicked out Hasina from Bangladesh and forcing her to flee the country. It talks about the background, and then this article goes into details about making some political forecasts. Is this the end of Sheikh Hasina? And then it talks about what lies ahead for Bangladesh. In this section, which is quite large, I talk about several major forecasts about the newly established interim government at that time, and what are the immediate challenges, and where this government is likely to end its mandate. So there are a significant number of political forecasts in this article. If you are interested, please go ahead and read that. So today, let's get out of the article and talk about what we know as of now and how can we use that to make an informed guess about the future of the Yunus government, particularly because they have just finished their 30 days in office, which is a remarkable feat for this government, because the government came into being under extraordinary circumstances, under complete chaos, and the fact that they were able to hold together for 30 days, that in itself is a fantastic accomplishment for the Yunus government. So congratulations for that. So now let's talk about some key features of this government and how those key features are going to be useful in our informed prediction about its political future. Some of the key features include: this is a very popular government. It has wide acceptability, credibility, popularity, and moral standing among the people, which is fantastic because the previous government did not have any of it. So that's great. Yunus enjoys all of these high standing among the people, which is going to be a strong feature for his government. The government, on the other hand, also has some serious lackings. Number one, like any other interim government that comes under highly special circumstances, this government is not an elected government. They do not have people's mandate. Number two, this government is led by an 84 years old person, which is Professor Yunus. There are no other personality in this government with anywhere near his level of acceptability, popularity, and worldwide credibility. So this is a very much Professor Yunus's government, and he's 84 years old. He's not getting any younger. So therefore, any long-term planning around this government will naturally be bounded by this reality that Yunus is 84 years old. So these are the two permanent features. The third permanent feature about this government is that this government inherited destroyed institutions of Bangladesh: the police, the judiciary, the bureaucracy, the foreign policy establishment, the intelligence agencies. All of these entities are completely destroyed and depleted as they inherited them from Sheikh Hasina. This is going to be an extremely limiting feature of this government's eventual ability to carry out reform, to change the country to its liking. So these broken institutions are going to be a major impediment towards all of that. So now that we've discussed all these excellent features of the government, which is credibility, acceptability, popularity, and then the limitations of the government, which is, as I said, an old leader and no mandate and broken institution. All these features are going to be instrumental in our prediction. So now let's talk about what lies ahead for this government. What you can see lies ahead for this government is going to be chaos. This is a government under extraordinary circumstances, and the extraordinary circumstances are not going to go away. You are not going to have a business as usual future for this government. Its entire tenure will going to be full with chaos. You can call them destabilizing chaos. So what are these destabilizations that I'm talking about? Some of it is going to be organic, things that happen on their own, but some of them will not be organic. Some of those will be inorganic, artificially created by internal and external players. So let's talk about some examples. Organic chaos, organic destabilization can be of political in nature. For example, the country did not have a functioning democracy in Bangladesh. All of a sudden, people got their rights back. Therefore, you are likely to see a lot of different groups. Some of them are quite problematic. They will hit the streets with all kinds of demands. And some of those will not be pretty, but may still have a lot of people lining up, pressing those demands. So that's one. The other one could be from the organic chaos or destabilization side. You are already seeing a lot of conflict on the streets that are not stopping. You are seeing student vigilantes doing all kinds of stuff. One of the great things about the students is that they are doing a lot of new things for the country. They are fixing some of the things that the older generation could not fix. But at the same time, having young men running around on the street, taking law into their own hands, doing vigilante justice are very easy to go wrong. And many of those things will go wrong. And within few months, at some point, you are likely to see some type of chaos stemming from student-led vigilante activities. So that's a vulnerability that this government is going to potentially face very soon. From the organic destabilization, you can also find some of the political items, like, let's say, what's the future of Awami League? What's going to be the case for all these Chhatra League students who are going to go back to their schools and colleges and universities at some point? What's going to be the case for many of the business people, some of the government officials who are completely tagged or tarnished, whose images were tarnished by their activities in the past? When these people gradually make their way into the society, you are going to see a lot of chaos around them. You can also find some turbulence in the labor sector. In the labor sector is ripe for getting inflamed very soon. The transport sector, some of the heavy industries can get inflamed very soon with various issues. So there is going to be a lot of that, a lot of these things over the next few months, particularly because people are now free. They can express their grievances and they can expect speedy solutions. And people's expectations on the government is also very high. So all of these things will create a lot of chaos on the streets that the Yunus government have to tackle. On the inorganic side, inorganic in the sense that chaos that are manufactured, you can expect a lot of those coming from the people who have left this country with a lot of money and influence. These are the former regime people, businessmen and politicians. They fled with a lot of cash. They can create a lot of destabilization from wherever they are right now. So those type of destabilization you can expect over the next few months and years in the horizon. You have foreign adversaries, particularly one specific country. They may create issues in Bangladesh. The most likely terrain for those kind of destabilization is probably going to be the information space, the cyber space, internet, news. These kind of stuff are going to be used to create issues in Bangladesh, destabilization. And finally, some of those influence and money can also be used to rile up various different sections of the country against each other. You can also have some inflammation on the social media and all that. So there is going to be some destabilization coming from people who left this country with a lot of cash. So all these destabilization over the next 3 to 9 months, 6 to 12 months, whatever you call it, are going to be challenging for the Yunus government with a weak government, with weak police, weak bureaucracy, weak judiciary. They are going to face this destabilization with not much firepower over the next 6 to 12 months. So come next year, around this time, which is August of 2025, this government is going to be faced with a situation where they have to look for an exit. So now let's talk about what are the likely exits for this government. The best exit is probably going to be just arranging an election, like a free and fair election, reform the election commission and go for an election and then hand over the power to the next winners. So that's the best and the most prudent outcome that these governments should explore. But there are some other outcomes that they can explore. One of them could be to go for an election where they are just going to ask for extended mandate for themselves. So they can go to the polls and ask people to say yes or no for a 5-year or 3-year term for this government. Another option could be to create a national government, like a national cabinet, like where various different political parties will contribute ministers. So that's an option. I'm not saying that's likely, but that's an option that they can explore. And then the final two options are another interim government. If things get out of control and this government cannot tackle it, maybe there is going to be another interim government. And finally, there is always the option for a military coup, which essentially going to bring another interim government backed by the military. So these are the possibilities that this government have to explore come 12 to 18 months from today. And with their international acceptability, credibility, but with their lack of mandate and an old leader and also broken bureaucracy, the most likely outcome is going to be some sort of exit strategy of this team of advisors and the government around August to December of 2025. So that is basically the main forecast. Now you can ask what type of reforms, constitutional reforms and all that you are getting within this period. As I said, if you look at the weaknesses of this government, they don't have the mandate, they are not elected, and they have weak bureaucracy and judiciary and weak executive branch. I do not forecast a lot of constitutional and legal changes that you can expect from this government to be carried out. They are definitely going to do certain things. You have already seen certain things like the charter against disappearance that the government signed with the international community. So that's a great one. There could be few others like that. But a major overhaul of Bangladesh's constitution or some of the major laws is, as of now, unlikely, because that may also require another mandate, like an election or something like that, which are most likely not the possibility at this point. All right, so that's the forecast. We are expecting an election in a year from today, the announcement of it, and then potentially the election is going to happen around December 2025. Please note, political forecasting means the things that I think as of today that are most likely to happen. I'll be very happy if many of these things that I just discussed do not happen. But as of now, I do believe that many of the things that I just said are likely to happen. And if in the future we have to reverse some of our forecasting, I will do that. So until next time, goodbye.